Jacob, you heard what Tom said about how Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras does have a mandate. What exactly is his mandate? Because he ran and won his position the first time around.
Different things.
Yes, on an anti-austerity platform, and now he's turned around completely.
Well, I think his mandate is that he is the most popular politician in Greece. Now, given the opposition, that may not mean very much, but I mean, it is remarkable the amount of trust the Greek population has shown him. I mean, he basically has, as you said, gone right to the brink and then did a 180 and is now being re-elected with the same voter support, basically.
For embracing the opposite.
For doing everything he campaigned his heart out not to do back in January. It's, as a political escape act, it's remarkable.
So UBS, with a note out today, actually put the exit risk. It's still about 20 to 30% over the next 12 months. What do you think of those odds?
No, I think they're much, much too high. I mean, I think the basic overarching lesson of the last couple of months, but actually the last 5 years in Greece, is that at the end of the day, when you get close to the exit, close to the abyss, people always turn around and do the other thing. That at the end of the day, it's always going to be more costly for Greece, but also for the creditors in Germany and elsewhere, to let a country go. And I think at the end of the day, when you look at the process that leads up to such a decision, which always needs to be done by the people, you know, when people all of a sudden wake up one Monday morning and don't have their banks anymore, it tends to clarify the minds, and they vote in the quote-unquote responsible way. So I think the probability of Grexit is very, very close to zero, in my opinion.
Okay, and he's got a lot of popularity, as you said, behind him. You talked about this political escape act and how it's nothing short of miraculous. You also talked in the past about how Tsipras, in order to avoid disaster, would need to be kind of like Frank Underwood of House of Cards. What did you mean by that? Alex was worried that you were talking about murder or something.
It was like season 2. He murdered. I mean,
yeah, well, I mean, you know, he did commit. He liquidated, if you like to use that word, the opposition within his own party. He struck a deal that forced them to break, you know, form their own rebel party, if you like, Popular Unity, and that party has been annihilated. It is not in the parliament, and it's nowhere to be found on Greek politics. So that's what I mean. He basically did what he had to do to remain prime minister.
But the sort of big elephant in the room is, will the IMF come back in and commit more money? With this kind of mandate, does that help?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. And I think
you for sure they'll come in?
I think it is highly unlikely that the IMF is going to walk away from a member state which, in my opinion, has a good probability of having pretty strong growth next year, because it has political stability, it's going to get a sizable monetary stimulus, and it has a pretty loose fiscal target for the next 12 months. And they're at the bottom. The only way is up. Is the IMF going to walk away from that, you know, being the global rescue organization that quits? I don't think so.
Can you define strong growth real quick?
Well, I think 2 to 3% next year is well within reach. In fact, probably leaning towards 3 because of the starting point. Remember, back in 2014, late 2014, before the election uncertainty, Greece was growing. And now they're going to have more, as I said, they're going to have a more lenient fiscal target short term, and they're going to have a significant monetary stimulus too.
So Tsipras has proven himself to be a very savvy political operator. Has his understanding of global economics and markets evolved in a similar way?
I think it's too early to say, but I think it's very clear that his political incentives to make this deal work, I think is very clear. He needs to implement the things that the Troika wants, because he needs to have his banks recapitalized by the end of the year, and he needs debt relief relatively shortly. And for that, he's going to have to pass a lot of bills through the Greek parliament. And I think he'll be able to do this with his government. And then in the medium term, we can debate whether the Greek public sector has the capacity to truly implement these things. But in the short run, I think he'll play ball, and I think he'll do what the Troika wants him to do.